Hey guys, welcome to our channel, Forces of Freedom and Fascism, promoting bottom-up democracy and calling an end to top-down fascism, promoting freedom of speech absolutism, and a call to a democratic revival.
In this video, you're going to see the future.
Alright, enough of that. So, what happened to the $200 billion in American taxpayer aid money we sent to Ukraine? Surely American taxpayers deserve to know exactly how their hard-earned $200 billion, money that will burden even their great-grandchildren, is being spent. Don't we have some kind of accountability plan in place, especially when so many people are aware of what's really going on? Suspicious? Should be. And so what's really going on? So yeah, Ukraine is the most corrupt, globalist-owned country in the world. It's literally the cabal's headquarters. Apparently BlackRock owns 90% of Ukraine. So it's one of the only countries in the world that has a stability infrastructure to be the cabal's global headquarters for money laundering and biolab research. So Ukraine is 100% globalist-owned, 100% puppet government. Only country in the world that everyone is compromised in government and where there's zero chance of anything being investigated. It's literally anything goes. So, $200 billion to the most corrupt nation in the world. What could possibly go wrong, right? So this is the only person that's calling for accountability in Congress is a person by the name of Marjorie Taylor Greene. And here she is here, even though she's like pretty much ridiculed all over the media, and she's calling for accountability apparently because of this. Mainstream media outlets like NBC, CNN, and MSNBC go out of their way to unfairly tarnish her reputation. So here she is here in an interview. This is kind of funny. This is an interview by Emily Mateless, I believe. And this is pretty funny. Let's take a listen to this.
Assure you it won't be Nikki Haley.
And can you tell me why so many people that support Donald Trump love conspiracy theories, including yourself? He seems to attract lots of conspiracy theorists.
Well, let me tell you, you're a conspiracy theorist, and the left and the media spreads more conspiracy theories. We like the truth. We like supporting our Constitution, our freedoms, and America first. So,
what about Jewish space lasers? Tell us about Jewish space lasers.
No, why don't you go talk about Jewish space lasers? And really, why don't you off? How about that?
Thanks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Conspiracy theories, including yourself. He seems to attract lots of conspiracy theorists.
Well, let me tell you, you're a conspiracy theorist, and the left and the media spreads more conspiracy theories. We like the truth. We like supporting our Constitution, our freedoms, and America first. So,
what about Jewish space lasers? Tell us about Jewish space lasers.
No, why don't you go talk about Jewish space lasers? And really, why don't you off? How about that?
Thanks. Thank you very much.
Okay, that was great. Yeah, so Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of the few members of our government Congress, openly calling for accountability because of this. Mainstream media outlets like NBC, CNN, MSNBC go out of their way to unfairly tarnish her reputation. So, but again, Trump says he can end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. So why, how, and why is that so easy? Here he is, listen to this.
And I say this, I will end that war in one day. It'll take 24 hours. And I say this, I will end that war in one day. It'll take 24 hours. I will end that war in one day. It'll take 24 hours. I know Zelensky well. I know Putin well. I will get that ended in a period of...
You can break that deal.
100%. It would be easy. That deal would be easy. A lot of it has to do with the money. A lot of it has to do with the military, that we're giving. But I would get that deal done within 24 hours. That war has to be stopped. That war is a disaster.
Final thought.
Okay, so just as you can end the war in 24 hours. Why is this so easy? So one of the things I want to say that I'm going to bring up is the Western media is whitewashing Azov Battalion. So let's talk about the Azov Battalion. The Obama-Biden administration in the year 2014 ultimately put Zelensky, literally an actor, into power via CIA coup for the sole express purpose of extorting $200 billion in aid in Ukraine. Normally, the resource stolen is simply American taxpayers' dollars to the tune of $200 billion. The Obama-Biden administration in the year 2014 ultimately put Zelensky, literally an actor, into power via CIA coup for the sole express purpose of extorting $200 billion in aid to Ukraine. Normally, the CIA performs acts of neocolonialism, or a better word is resource stealing. But in this case, the resource stolen is simply American taxpayer dollars to the tune of $200 billion. And people here in America are wondering if Social Security will even exist in a few years. So all this is out of the news now, but it's important to keep up with it. And being the biggest crime, a manufactured war, maybe millions dead, huge amounts of money being skimmed into the hands of criminal elements of the government. So what is the Biden crime family's involvement? Let's take a look here. So this is, we've got to take a look at the Azov Battalion. The Azov Battalion, in order to make my case that Russia was deliberately drawn into the war, it's important to address the Azov Battalion. The Azov Battalion is a neo-Nazi faction within the military driven by an ideology that targets Russians, viewing them as different race due to their perceived Asian heritage. So a belief rooted in their so-called pure-blood Aryan ideology. Here's an interesting fact. If you visit the Siberia region in Russia, you quickly see the connection to Native Americans in North America. All right, here's an article. The Western media is whitewashing the Azov Battalion. Before Russia invaded Ukraine, these fighters were neo-Nazis. They still are. Let's read a few excerpts out of this. Pretty interesting article. It says here, for 70 years, Western institutions have warned about Ukraine's Azov movement, which began as a neo-Nazi paramilitary group in 2014 and became notorious for its worldwide recruitment of extremists. Then came Russia's invasion. Within months, all of a sudden, Azov fighters were being feted in Congress and in Stanford University. Feted means celebrated. So they're actually being celebrated at their embarrassment, of course, because they found out later that they were Nazis. MSNBC swooned over a Ukrainian soldier whose Twitter account overflowed with neo-Nazi images. Facebook made the stunning decision to allow posts praising the Azov Battalion, even though the company admitted that it was a hate group. So this overnight normalization of white supremacy was made possible because Western institutions driven by a zeal to ignore anything negative about the Ukrainian allies. Well, it fails to mention here also the Western media. The Western media is a very thick propaganda layer that you have to cut through. Basically, it's a media basically of the highest bidder. That's what I would call it, and I've said this time and again in all of my videos. How Russia probably has 10% of the propaganda that we actually have here in some of the Western civilization. So that's so moving along here. So these guys look. So at first guess, when you take a look at this picture here, let me play these guys. Okay, anyway, that's kind of nice. But really, when we take a look at these people, as almost as though, it's almost as though they're like Native North Americans, right? So here's an interesting fact. If you visited Siberia, a region in Russia, you quickly see the connection to Native America in North America. So as their ancestors likely migrated from this part of the world. But let's stay back on topic. Oh, these guys are pretty cool. All right, back on topic. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So, so when the CIA-backed puppet government was installed in Ukraine, they gave the Azov battalion significant freedom. The battalion committed atrocities, allegedly murdering up to 14,000 Russian-speaking Eastern Ukrainians. So here it is. Here again, I'm just trying to highlight story of the Ukraine's neo-Nazi Azov battalion. They were allowed to run amok in eastern part of Ukraine, killing Russian-speaking. Anybody that was Russian-speaking in eastern part of Ukraine was targeted by these Azov battalions, who were actually neo-Nazis. So Ukrainian propaganda was elevated. The Azov battalions protracted but ultimately doomed final stand, Mariupol. But anyway, they caused a bunch of problems. And I would say ultimately they're the ones that drew Russia finally into attacking in 2012. So all this taking place in 2014. The CIA coup, puppet government is installed, all this, and then in the end, eventually, very patient, they were drawn in to the war. So Trump claims he can end the war in Ukraine in just 24 hours. So that's pretty amazing. So how could that be possible? Here's the answer. Ending war becomes much simpler when it's a conflict that was manufactured in the first place, designed to serve corrupt agendas and enable bribery. Trump and the American citizens have no vested interest or benefit to gain in the continuation of the war, unlike Biden and the new deep state puppet Kamala. So the government shifts from deep state puppets like Biden and Kamala to a true leader who genuinely prioritizes the well-being of the American people and the world and is committed to ending the endless wars. Peace becomes not just possible, but easily achievable. So the deep state military-industrial complex driving the never-ending wars were dismantled. Achieving peace could be remarkably straightforward, while solving global conflicts in 24 hours might be an overstatement. Establishing a framework for lasting peace within a week seems feasible. Stop believing heavy Western propaganda demonizing half the world at the behest of the military-industrial complex, and just go over and talk to them. Just go over there, talk to them. With social media connecting the globe and user-friendly translators at your fingertips, you could be chatting with just about anyone on the planet. What I haven't even mentioned is Burisma. So the Biden-Burisma corruption scandal is almost like a sideshow compared to the lives lost in this war. It that I have for us at the Forces of Freedom and Fascism. So I'm glad you joined us. Please like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time in the next installation. Thank you so much. Have a good one.